Let's break this mother down. Whiz, shizzy, whiz, nut.
An open letter to Legally Lips. Botox lies and legal delusion. Dear Lips McGee, the Muppet that screams in the ether like an old fart, but smellier. Let's stop pretending this lawsuit is about clearing your name. It's not. It's about silencing criticism, masking vanity with litigation, and using the court system as a personal shield against the very public consequences of your own choices. You claim to be a neutral figure, an innocent woman who simply asked a few questions, gave a couple of interviews, and now finds herself the helpless victim of an online mob. But the reality is far less romantic and far more pathetic. You inserted yourself quite loudly into a public controversy. You climbed aboard the anti-what the hell circus, and now you're weeping in the middle of a 3-ring courtroom because the spotlight you begged for isn't flattering you the way that you imagined it would. You say you're not a public figure. Well, and that's rich, though not nearly as rich as the injectable cocktail you've been marinating in for the better part of a decade. You have public YouTube presence. You appeared alongside known defendants in a lawsuit you clearly knew was ongoing. You contacted journalists to balance the coverage, and you put yourself on camera giving legal commentary and advice while simultaneously claiming you're just a simple housewife helping your husband draft pleadings. Leslie, you can't claim legal naivety while signing court documents with Escuela retired under your name. That's not how this works. You're not a rookie. You're just reckless. Let's talk about that Escuela retired permanently. You parade it like it's a noble badge of honor, dignified retirement after decades of noble service. But the truth is, you didn't retire from law so much as you retreated from discipline. You left the field not with a standing ovation, but with the looming shadow of disbarment nipping at your heels. Court evidence is there. That's not retirement. That's a preemptive bailout. Now when people point out the very real and very public records indicating exactly that, you start crying defamation, like someone kicked over your Botox cart. You accuse people of mocking your appearance. Well, let's be clear. There's absolutely no rule, legal or moral, that says the public has to pretend your face hasn't been pulled, puffed, stretched, and reinflated more times than your credibility. You went to war with YouTubers armed with live streams and thumbnails, and you came in swinging with a forehead that hasn't moved since the Bush administration and lips so overfilled they could double as flotation devices in the event of a deposition emergency. If you don't want people to notice the mask, maybe stop charging into every screen wearing it like a costume. You accuse Jeremy and George, Ray Hip, whoever the hell that is, and a choir of John and Jane Does of conspiring to emotionally destroy you. Cry me a JPEG. You're offended because he used thumbnails. Welcome to 2025. That's like suing someone for a meme. YouTube creators use thumbnails for attention, something you clearly crave. Even while pretending you don't. Maybe don't participate in public discourse if your skin is thinner than your legal reasoning. No, Leslie, they didn't conspire. They reacted to you, to your decisions, to your delusions, to your actions. You're not the target of a coordinated hit. You're the walking embodiment of play stupid games, win stupid prizes. The moment you attached yourself to the legal opposition of a high-profile social media figure and broadcasted your involvement to the internet, you became part of the story. You don't get to parachute into controversy, land in the middle of a digital battlefield, and then beg the court to keep from firing back. Your complaint is full of legal fluff, emotional projection, and transparent attempts to reframe public backlash as organized persecution. You complain about being mocked on Facebook, being called irrelevant in YouTube comments, and have people speculate about your motives. What exactly did you think was going to happen, idiot? Did you imagine people would throw you a parade for jumping into someone else's lawsuit like you were auditioning for a courtroom spinoff? Your emotional distress claim reads less like a serious tort, more like a bad Yelp review of the internet. Leslie, you might want to Google how the First Amendment works before you start swinging it at satire and protected speech. Retractions don't come from tantrums, they come from actual evidence of malice and falsity. Not you whining because someone called you for stepping in front of a moving tray labeled YouTube drama. Let's talk about your motion to seal the case. That's perhaps the most ridiculous part of this entire fiasco. You want to sue people in public for making public statements about you, but you want the entire legal proceeding hidden from the same public. You want to be the plaintiff and the censor at the same time, and that's not justice, that's just cowardice. That's the legal equivalent of showing up to a boxing match and asking the referee to blindfold the audience so when no one sees you get your ass knocked the fuck out. You wanted a sealed case, a public payout, the legal equivalent of duct taping everyone's mouth shut while you keep talking? You think you're some righteous crusader? You think you're just another coward with a keyboard, fragile ego, looking for a courtroom to validate your victim complex. You want retractions, damages, silence, sealed records, and sympathy? What you deserve is a mirror. You've confused embarrassment with injustice, public mockery with defamation, consequences with oppression. This isn't about your name, it's about your sorry-ass ego. You're not trying to defend your character because you didn't have any. You're trying to weaponize the law to prop up a narrative that's cracking under the weight of your own contradictions, fat ass. You don't get to launch a public smear campaign, collab with disgraced figures, and appear on YouTube shows run by lawsuit defendants and then pretend you're the one being persecuted. You're not the first disgraced attorney to come out swinging with a frivolous defamation claim, and you damn well won't be the last. But you might be the one that's most hilariously self-unaware. You filed this mess with your name on it, your face on it, and your fingerprints all over every platform that you now condemn. You asked to be in the spotlight, and now you're screaming for curtains. Well, the only thing worse than this lawsuit is the delusion that birthed it. You're not entitled to a sealed courtroom just because public accountability made you uncomfortable. You don't get to insult, instigate, and then insulate yourself. And most of all, you don't get to demand that others stop laughing when you're the one delivering the punchline. So go ahead, keep filing, keep threatening, keep inflating both your legal arguments and your lips. But don't you dare pretend this is about truth, justice, or dignity, because you don't have any left. This is about vanity, and everyone sees it clearer than whatever your last surgeon left you with. You wanted the court. Now you got it. You wanted the public's attention. Consider this your standing ovation. You welcome to the very public consequences of your very, very public choices. Sincerely, Shizzy Wiznut, your friendly neighborhood dumbass. just a guy with no law license, no Botox, and somehow still a better grip on the First Amendment than you. Just a soft-brained YouTube idiot with Velcro shoes. And definitely your mother effing daddy.
It is about time. Let's break this mother down. With Shizzy, Wiz, Nut.